Hello, welcome back to the recap podcast, episode 2. So today we are talking, as always, about a bunch of Battleground stuff, like first off the meta. I think I'm always going to start off with the meta because it's, I think, the most important and relevant topic of this podcast. So how Battlegrounds is evolving, where it's going, what the state of the game is right now. Then a bit about balance, or not a bit, actually a lot about balance. I have a lot of things to talk about and share, and I've written down a lot of complaints, if you will, about the balance right now with heroes and some other things that have happened, which you'll see when I talk about it. Then as well, Lobby Legends. So we finally got like the big esports announcement for Battlegrounds. There's also a lot of different takes I see on this, so I'll share a little bit of mine and what I've seen circle around on social media. And then at the end, where I'm at, because I mentioned that I try or wanted to try and push for top 16, which is what you need to try and qualify for, try and participate into Lobby Legends. So a lot has happened in the last couple of days, a lot of revelations, if you will, a lot of thoughts about, where I want to go and what my position is in the situation. So anyway, let's talk about the meta and the Battlegrounds situations right now. First of all, we're back in greedy meta, ladies and gentlemen. We're back at the high roll, and it is annoying. And that is just always what happens. Every meta or every time something happens, things will always trend from tempo towards greed. I'll explain quickly why again, but because whenever new things are introduced, people experiment with it, want to try it out, and things are not very optimized. Things are always a little bit more mid-range based. You can play a lot of comps like Menagerie. I think almost everything was playable, and that is fun. I always have a lot of fun in those metas where you can just pull off a lot of different cool comps and heroes. I was winning games with Cariel, and AFK felt super good, and even Pyramid, like I could play whatever, and you had a chance. But things get optimized, things become better, and tempo falls off, and then it's all Reborn Maxinos and Amalgadons again and Golden Self as heroes and the whole shenanigans, So the reason why as well is because of the hero difference. Like, first of all, let's say this gap is all the heroes. All the heroes are in between this. If you're listening on Spotify or somewhere else, you can't see this, but I'm holding my hands open right now. And you have the good heroes that are good, obviously, having a high average win rate, and the bad heroes that are doing performing worse. This is all very obvious, but stay with me. So, but they're very close together. Very often they're like 1 or 2 points away. Also, there's a bird outside. I don't know if you guys, or if the microphone picks it up, but if it does, you got some like nice wildlife sounds in here. But yeah, so they're very close-ish together. So the good heroes will still outperform the bad, but you can get away with some wins and with some cool comps. But the longer time goes on and things stay unchanged, there's no buffs or nerfs coming through, the gap becomes bigger and bigger, and the average win rate of the good heroes goes up, from the bad heroes goes down, things get refined, and that is how greed exists, because if the good things keep becoming better and better, the bad things fall off, you can't really play them anymore, because it just can't keep up with the pace of the game. And yeah, it's just, well, at least this is what happens in higher ranks. This is, of course, good players will be able to optimize these strategies very quickly, see the lines, when to level, when to triple, and abuse the broken things before other people and just figure them out. So yeah, that is just what we see again with this meta, and I think it's exactly the same as it was, I mean, months ago even. The boards are still massive elementals or double fellbats or a lot of poison divine shield, so things haven't really changed in that regard, which is sad. Like, I almost recorded this recap podcast 1 or 2 weeks ago, and then it would have been a completely different story. I would have been sitting here all happy because I got to play my mid-range meta, I got to play Menagerie, a lot of cool heroes. Like, again, Cariel felt good to me, I had a lot of good games with her. Now she feels pretty bad. And yeah, I feel like it's hard for me to let go of that because I like it so much that it also reflects kind of in my ranks, and in my games have been less consistent just because I'm still probably overvaluing how things used to be. Compared to how things are changing. So we're back with the bullshit. Like, I had a game where I just high rolled. I got like 3-6 drops. I had Kalagal, Silrag, Amalgadon, Bran. I was doing some crazy stuff. I still got 8th place with that board. I still vividly remember because I took 15 from someone who even out high rolled me harder, and that just feels bad. And once that happens, you know, kind of the time, you kind of know what meta we're in at the moment. But yeah, a small anecdote to give you an example. Like, I loved Rag a lot. Amazing tempo hero. I think he's still really good and still very undervalued. I think he's super consistent, but he was like always top 2 guaranteed. He was my highest win rate hero for a while just because it's so good. The stats that you get, all the interactions with Goldgerber, Major Domo, Lightfang, it's just fun, it's good. I think it still is, but it was consistent top 2 up until I played him the last couple times this week. Reason being, you know, I played early, then you start facing a Lich who stays on tier 1 and plays Massive Demon, so you don't get any, you don't kill anything, you don't get any hits of your hero power. Okay, kind of feels bad, but sure. Oh, there's a Queen Whack toggle. Also has massive 1-drops. I can't kill a single thing again. Okay, my hero power still doesn't progress. Whatever. Oh, here's Lord Barov. He's playing multiple Ref Reavers to be strong, get their buddy, and then it's level 2-4 and has like double Mechano tank. Okay, that kind of sucks, but yeah, what are you gonna do about it? And then the cycle keeps continuing, and eventually I died without getting my hero power on Rag, even though I had my buddy for 3 turns. Like, I stayed alive very long, still got on 8th place, and then you just think to yourself, wow, kind of sucks when you don't have like any decisions to make in the early game, when you can't win fights no matter how hard you try or try and get your hero power, just because you have these cheesy strats on tier 1 that are pretty much unbeatable, very streamlined and boring. And yeah, that is at least my experience so far. Again, I'm just one person playing on one server on EU in one specific MMR range. I don't know what it's like in different MMR lobbies and different scenarios or servers. So please leave your thoughts down below. I think that's like the most fun part about this podcast. The first episode I did was, I think, amazing. I didn't expect it to do that well, but also the comments were just so fun to read. All the discussions down below, like the interactions. And I think that's what I love about this, and I want to keep this going. So please, anything that I talk about in this podcast, just write an essay down below, discuss with others, and we can have like a nice, I don't know, we can see what other people think of the situation, which I think is very helpful. So now moving on to balance. This is a big topic I want to talk about because, oh my god, I have questions and I need answers. Now, spoiler alert, or disclaimer I should say, I'm not a dev. I don't know anything about balancing. I'm just someone who plays the game a lot. Like, I play this game on average 5 hours a day. Recently it's been more because of the grind. Sometimes it's less if I don't stream. But I basically every day of the week I wake up, make Battlegrounds content, play Battlegrounds, go to sleep, right? That's my entire day. It's just Battlegrounds. It's what I do. So I have seen a lot of things. I've been doing this for years as well, or at least 1 year full time. So I have seen evolutions, I have seen how balancing affects things, and I kind of ranted here, wrote down a lot of things. But again, I might not know what the hell I'm talking about. Like, I'm not a professional in this. I didn't study. I can't even study for balance change. I think it's just practice, right? But I'm just coming from a place of experience, I guess, and what I have seen, but I don't know anything about balance. I don't have inside info. I'm not pretending like I have the answers to the issues. I'm just trying to give my honest feedback and honest opinions on this, because that's what I want this podcast to be. I want this to be me being real and being transparent about how I feel about the game and how I think others feel about the game. So it's not just me, one individual, his opinion, but what I see others say on Twitter, on socials, in other streams. Yeah, basically that's what I'm trying to do here. Anyway, okay, I feel like I had to get it out of the way because I know I'm going to get comments and I know I might come off wrong, but just know that I do everything with good intention. First of all, please nerf Vol Jin. Like, how Vol Jin, I guess he got nerfed, right? I think Vol Jin moved from tier 3 to tier 4, but the big issue is it's not enough. Vol Jin is so oppressive and so stupid. Another little anecdote. So I was playing Queen. I was doing this cheesy strategy on tier 1 with Queen because I had a bad day. I just want to get my MMR and get out of there. Usually it's like a guaranteed top 3 or top 2. It was an elemental lobby. There was even demons, so I could play a massive trickster. I even tripled early into a selfless, so I felt very safe. But I was on 15 HP early on because I did face Vol Jin, who dealt 15 to me earlier. So I was just sitting there on 15 HP. It was still a top 7. I think in the lobby only one person died. And then I face Vol Jin again. And I have at this point like 40-40 or 50-50 stats on all of my cards. And I feel really strong. But I knew that Vol Jin already had 100 attack units last time I faced them, like 3 turns ago. They had multiple Divine Shield cards, selfless. So I think the only way to beat them, if I keep scaling I still lose, was to level and find Ghoul. But Ghoul I had a chance. So I leveled. You hate leveling to tier 2 on Queen too early, but I had to. I did find Ghoul. So I have this perfect board, like 50-50 stats on my cards. A Ghoul, a Selfless, and I feel like there's no way I take 15. But I do. I got 6th place on Queen Whack Toggle in the perfect lobby with the perfect early game and setup to a hero that has multiple 100 attack perfect units early on as well. And that just speaks to the power level of Vol Jin, because we all know the power level of Queen. We know how easy it is and how stupid it is to get free games with Queen and ranks. And the fact that I was able to get a 6th place just because I faced Vol Jin twice should, like, kind of, if you map it out, like, see where the power level of Vol Jin is compared to other heroes that have an insane power level. I like Vol Jin. I think the effectors needs to change. Or Chroma Wing. Chroma Wing is a one-drop that, you know, the dragon, whenever you level, you double the attack. That is the main reason why Vol Jin gets like 100 attack early on. But yeah, you still have a glass cannon comp with Vol Jin, like it's counterable. With Ghoul or with like mid cannot tank or jugglers, Vol Jin could suffer. But that is not a good excuse yet when Vol Jin can still do stuff like this. So yeah, Vol Jin, I think, just has to change fundamentally. Queen Whack Toggle, same deal. There shouldn't be strategies where you can stay on 1 and just get free MMR. And I see people make the argument of, oh, these heroes were really bad, now they're playable, and now you want to nerf them. I think it's good that they're playable. But if you have 0 skill, I can learn a monkey to play Queen Whack Toggle and get a top 3 against top MMR players. Like, you don't need brain cells. You just need to never click the green level button, buy like 4 different tribes, and then just play the blue elementals in the shop every turn. Like, there's no skill there. The only skill is in the end game, whether or not you level and what cards you look for, which is the Selfless and maybe Ghoul. Yeah, no, I don't like it. Queen shouldn't be a thing. And they nerfed her as well, I think. Her buddy clearly is just not enough. Same with Lich Bazial, another hero that stays on 1, buys Reavers, skills up big stats, gets top 3s easily. Lich is slightly worse than Queen, but still too good, too consistent, and it's just stupid. Shouldn't be a thing either. Please nerf. And then I want to mention Akazamzrak. I think Akazamzrak isn't that strong. The hero itself doesn't need a nerf. The animation time needs a nerf. My god, if you face Akazamzrak and you're stuck in combat for like 5 minutes watching a macaw getting reborn and then a million divine shields, and then it takes 5 minutes to summon a bunch of snakes on the board, like, I think the animation time on Akazamzrak is completely nuts. You need to restart your game. If you don't restart your game, you have no time into combat phase. So you actively have to try and save time by restarting your game, which I know is something that they don't intend. Like in Lobby Legends, you're not even allowed to restart your game. You're not allowed to disconnect to save time through combat phase, for example. So in Lobby Legends, if you face Akazamzrak, you're screwed. GG, you don't have any time left. You have to sit through the slideshow of animations, the entire movie that is the Akazamzrak secret board. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do about that, but that definitely has to be something done. Gallywix, I think Gallywix also got nerfed, and he's still super oppressive, needs another nerf. Like, Gallywix is, I don't know, I don't have words for it. Sylas, I think Sylas probably needs a nerf, needs some changes. He's really strong, but he's like lower on the priority tier list. I would like to see him nerfed, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of stuff that really needs to be addressed that I just talked about, that I would rather see being nerfed first and then Sylas be on the back burner for a little bit. Lord Barov is another example. Didn't even get nerfed. Like, all of the heroes that I just mentioned actually got nerfed. Not to great effect, clearly, but they got nerfed. And then Barov is just sitting here in the corner, just smiling. He's still the best hero pretty much in the game and didn't even get touched yet. I don't know why, but Barov, please, just, I don't know, kill him. Maybe that's a bit extreme. But okay, so now it comes to some problems. So we got 35 changes. They've been very quick. I'm really happy with how fast they've been addressing stuff. Like, whenever buddies got released, they mentioned that they're going to be quick because it's a big update. There's probably going to be a bunch of balance issues. And they did. Like, in 1 week, we got changes. A week later, we got 35 changes. Then another patch coming through, new heroes. Now it's been quiet. We haven't seen changes yet. Hopefully they keep up the pace, because they kind of have to. Like, ever since buddies were in the game, I think it became pretty obvious that we do need very frequent changes, since things will be out of line very quickly. And there's a lot of things to tweak with as well, a lot of things that interact with each other. So I hope they really keep up the pace like they did. I'm really happy with how responsive they are. But yeah, these things need to be addressed like as soon as possible, I think, especially since esports is coming for Battlegrounds. Like, we need to need competitive integrity here. Like, if you can just get free ranks playing tier 1 strategies, then that's kind of boring. I can't wait to see Lobby Legends, being broadcasted and see everyone stay on tier 1, or a Vol Jin with 100 attack deflectable on turn 7, whatever. But basically, buddy changes from tier 3 to tier 4 seems like it doesn't have an effect. If your buddy is strong, it's strong. And it's not even a strict nerf. Like, the best examples are Galliwix and Patches. Both their buddies went to tier 3 to tier 4. And the heroes, I think, stayed almost exactly the same in run rate. And the reason why is that you don't care about getting it later, since you very often hold your buddy in hand anyway. Like with Patches or Galliwix, whenever I got my buddy, I usually don't use it the same turn. I usually hold it in the hand until I am able to find a brand, until I'm able to play more pirates on Patches specifically, or set up a really good gold turn on Galliwix, and then pop off when I find a Hydra or Divine Shield or whatever. So, your tier 3 buddy, you played it 1 or 2 turns later anyway, so whether you get it a turn later or not is zero impact. Now, the only difference is that if you would need to stabilize, if you're like really weak and you need the tempo and you need to play the turn that you get it, sure, you get it a turn later. But I don't expect anyone to die on turn 6, especially when you're playing Patches or Galliwix and you already have kind of some tools to work with. So that seemed to be very low impact. Like, so they basically have to change the effect of the card. The stat line of the card also doesn't matter. You don't keep those buddies on the board. Like, even if those buddies are 1/1s, they will still see the same amount of play. Vol Jin also went to tier 4 from tier 3, I think. Lich Bazial, same deal. I don't even know if the same happened with Queen Wacto, but same deal. Like, moving strong stuff from tier 3 to tier 4 seems to not have an impact, or not much of an impact. Maybe like a 0.2 average placement impact, but that's not that much. Now, another thing is moving things from tier 4 to tier 3, so they try to buff some buddies as well. Also doesn't seem to have an impact. Best examples are Scabs and Test. Now, their buddies give you a random buddy from your opponent, which isn't good. Like, it's just not a great buddy, because most buddies that you steal won't have synergy with you, or won't be good because they don't synergize with your hero power. They don't give you much for your board or much to work with. So whether you get a turn later or not, getting a random free buddy doesn't do anything 1 turn earlier. It's just +1 gold. It's not good enough. The heroes still stayed, I think, relatively the same, pretty bad. The only exception is Guff so far, and I think that's because he's a spike. Like, Guff's buddy gives you a random 5 and 6, so getting that a turn earlier is actually super impactful and actually made the hero playable, even though he still doesn't have a hero power and he's still pretty bad. He does see some play and he actually has some strategies, but that is just because you get like an Omega Buster or a Light Fang a turn earlier, which obviously is a really big deal. So spikes, like delaying or improving spikes, is a way that you can like change the buddy, but a lot of these buddies, it doesn't matter if you get it a turn later or not, it seems. So yeah, that is something that I hope they will realize and then just change the effect of the buddies instead. And the best example is Illidan. Illidan did get nerfed from tier 2 to tier 3, but I think the biggest nerf, like if that was the only nerf, even if they made it tier 4, I think Illidan would still be too strong. But I think the real nerf is that they changed the effect. Instead of giving 2 immunes, it gives 1 immune. So they halved the effect. Now instead of 2 poison, divine shield, immune cards or 2 immune cleaves, you only have 1. And it seems to be good enough. Illidan isn't F tier, not horrible. He's not S tier anymore. He's like somewhere in the middle of the pack, I think. He's playable, which I think is good. He's in a decent spot. And that is all because they actually changed how the card works compared to just moving the Tavern tier, which I'm happy with. But like, there were buffs that I can't wrap my head around, and the first one is Shudderwalk. Like the Shudderwalk buff, did you guys even know Shudderwalk was buffed? I didn't know until I would revisit the patch notes. But basically, his buddy now gives an extra +2/+2 to whatever battle cry you get in the shop. Whenever you play a card, you get a battle cry in the shop. And nobody plays Shudderwalk like that. I think how people always play Shudderwalk, at least in high ranks, and the only reason why Shudderwalk sees play is in double token lobbies. You stay on 1, find tokens, press your hero power, then you level up and take a bunch of 5 drops most of the time, and then you spike and just snowball the lobby. And very often you sell your buddy, you don't really use it. Maybe you use it, maybe get some more battle cries if you have Bran. That's about it. The +2/+2 buff does nothing, because also the battle cries you buy don't stay on your board. It's something you cycle to buff up your board and then sell off most of the time. So they're trying to make this buff work, I think, for a playstyle of Shudderwalk that doesn't work. I haven't seen anyone play Shudderwalk like normally, like saving the hero power buddies in hand. Reason is mainly because you die. You can't afford to play without hero power for the majority of the game to then just pop off with hero powers late game. Like I again don't know in certain lobbies or certain MMR ranges how that works, but at least in all of my lobbies and in higher MMR, that's how Shadowwalker is played. The buddy buff has 0 impact, and I think it seems like they just don't, or like this change makes me feel like they don't realize the power and the potential of Shadowwalk, because it's not a nerf or a buff, or it doesn't at all have any interaction with how he is actually played. So that made little sense. Also, HysteriA, is it a nerf or a buff? HysteriA went to tier 4, so went up a tier, but also the stat line got improved. I don't understand it. Like I really don't know where to begin here. So I'm just gonna move on instead to Savjz, who got completely killed. I feel like Savjz didn't need a nerf, and the reason is because Savjz, the main reason why they were strong is Zaragoza, and Zaragoza got changed. Zaragoza went from tier 3 to tier 4, and that's a good nerf. That nerfed HysteriA and Savjz and a lot of other strategies. So I think that was great. I think that was fine. And probably good enough, but then they still went a step further and nerfed Savjz, and now he's completely killed because his strategy just doesn't work anymore. You get it way too late. Don't see any Savjz's in my lobbies, or I don't play myself anymore. Same with HysteriA. I think the HysteriA nerf by, nerfing Zaragoza is an indirect nerf to her as well. Really big one. So changing the buddy up and nerfing that, I think it's a nerf at least. Maybe it's a buff and I see it wrong, but it seems like a nerf to just, make it a tier higher. With the same effect still. I think it's still +3/+3 stats onto every dragon. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe they made these nerfs before Zaragoza got hotfixed, because I know that Zaragoza was a hotfix, and these were part of the bigger changes, so maybe they already had this planned, but then they went with the Zaragoza change as well, and that's why this happened, like a double nerf to both heroes. I don't know, I'm just speculating, but yeah, kind of sad to see. Because I think Savjz was alright in a decent spot after that change. But yeah, basically what happens is, or what happened as well with these 25-35 changes is they buffed tempo. Like they buffed a lot of stats, like AFK scaled up a lot more. Cariel got buffed. Like a lot of tempo heroes got stronger and were playable for a little bit. But again, like I mentioned at the start of this podcast with the meta, is that always things go greedier. The gap goes longer. So no matter how much you buff tempo, Tempo will never beat Poison, Divine Shield, Amalgadons, and Reborn Max Nows. That is the point. Like, no matter how strong your early game is, if you get stuck on tier 4 and play Tempo comps or end up being just, relying on your buddy a lot, you never beat the people on tier 6 that are doing the broken stuff. So, as fun as this was to play for a little bit, it always falls off. Of course, unless you make it broken. Like, if you make the stats something ridiculous that can outscale most boards, sure, Tempo will be good and we go back into that meta. But then it will be too oppressive. Those heroes will be too strong. So that's no solution either. I'm not saying make the Tempo even better. I'm saying tune down the high roll. Tune down the econ that heroes can get, the economy, the money, whatever, how they level, the higher tier cards. Just do something that puts us back into the spot, I think. But maybe I'm too nostalgic. Maybe things have to move in this direction. Maybe the game is just meant to always go greedy and that's just how it is. I need to accept it, which is probably the case. Honestly, I don't know how you would try and go back to a more mid-range meta, which I think is just the healthiest for the game. Not like Tempo is playable, greed is playable, where everything is playable. We can be in that state. We've seen it before. But yeah, a lot of changes have to go through and I don't think we'll see them, sadly, which I'll discuss in a little bit. Why I'm the main reason why I'm talking about all of this. But yeah, the new heroes were also underwhelming. Like, we got 3 new heroes. Rokara was just a Tempo hero, and Tempo isn't that great at the moment, or fell off again. I think she was playable for a little bit, but fell off pretty hard. Her buddy also became underwhelming, and same with Vander. Vander, actually, I think Vander was gonna be the best, but turns out that they just they have no tempo, they have no greed, they have nothing. They get you pairs, and I think they have a lot of potential. I've had some good Vander games, but the majority of the time it just doesn't compare to what exists, and they just get 8th, 7th places. I don't even see Vanders anymore. Oddly enough, Onyxia is the best one of the 3, which I didn't see coming. I still don't really understand why. But still not good, right? I see them from time to time in my lobbies, but that's about it. Underwhelming. We didn't see buffs yet to them or nerfs in general to stronger ones. So I don't know how long we'll have to wait until those heroes get buffed. If they get buffed at all, maybe they're just supposed to be bad heroes towards the lower end of the pack. But yeah, that is the new heroes in a nutshell. And the reason, so this is the end of my entire rant of balance, so thank you for sticking around through all of this. But the reason why I did all of this is because I'm really scared that we're not going to see changes, and that I wish everything that I mentioned, I wish all of that will be addressed, but I think a lot of it won't be. And the main argument I'm going to give is Jandis. This is a hero that has been in the game, I don't know for how long, as long as I remember, for years at least. And people have been complaining about Jandis, myself, like as much as possible because of tokens as well. Tokens also a big issue, have been in the game since forever and are not being addressed and probably won't be. Because I think for the majority of people and players, they're fine. This is fun, this is okay. But in the higher ranks and when it is refined, it is super oppressive and super broken. If you face a Jandis, now Jandis is less broken than some of the other broken heroes right now, but that is because the power level is way out of control. Like there's way too much greed and way too much strong stuff. And Jandis actually feels okay, which is weird to say. But she's still, with a token on 1, too consistent. If you give a Jandis a token on 1, they get guaranteed 2 triples into 2 5-drops on turn 6. That is something that shouldn't exist. So a hero that can guarantee get 2 triples into 2 5-drops on turn 6 while being strong, because you bounce token, you don't even lose that much tempo. If you can, like, if people know how to play Jandis and if people know how to use tokens, like, this is too good of a strategy. Hero power still is too strong with like a lookout brand, or you can get multiple amalgams. I think it is an issue that has never been addressed and won't be addressed because I think to the majority of players, or her win rate in lower ranks is fine. And I don't like that. I think you shouldn't, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit biased, I guess. But this just makes me indicate that Shadowwalk is never going to see changes either. He will always keep the same play style. And when nerfs or buffs come through or changes, it seems like it will apply to the casual player, which justifies why this buff to their body came through, because the standard player doesn't just, play with tokens. They play the game normally, and they might actually make use of that +2/+2 buff on battle cries in the shop. I guess. And maybe Barov also isn't good in lower ranks, or maybe Queen... Queen, I don't know, Queen needs to change. I think in lower ranks even Queen is oppressive, right? Vol Jin, maybe in the same boat. I don't know, but I hope that someday we'll get these changes that higher ranked people have been complaining about for a while. Like Sefin, I mean, Sefin, I think wasn't a healthy addition to the game. It allows a lot of people, actually I think Sefin might change, because a lot of people from all ranks have been complaining about it. I get comments regularly on my videos if I end in a poison endgame or lose to poison, that poison is a massive issue in the game. And stream, every time people ask me, okay, what is your opinion on poison? And they ask other streamers what they think of poison, because everything seems to devolve into poison comes to beat the insanely massive stats from greed. Greed leads to two things. You either are the high roller with the insane stats, or the person that needs to beat the high roller with a bunch of poison, reborn stuff, and dongs. So I think poison might be something that they will address eventually, I hope. Sefin is just a single 5-drop that you need to get to poison your entire board. One single tool to get 7 poisons if you play full Morlocks, for example. It's just... no. Alright, I'm gonna leave it at that before I keep rambling on. Damn, this has been already quite a long episode. That is just what I need to get off my chest with balancing right now. Things that I think don't just frustrate me, but frustrate, I think, a lot of people right now in the game. And maybe not. Maybe other people are having fun. I think all of this is fine, which is totally okay. Live your life. I'm happy that you're happy. But I want to get this off my chest. I'm still enjoying the game, though. I want to say I still like playing Battlegrounds every day. So I think it's fun to play. It's frustrating to face some of these things and to see some changes not come through, some changes not be enough, or some changes not help a part of the player base. Now onto Lobby Legends, which, the esports for BGs. I think the big complaint that I saw, in case you don't know, is top 16 from each region that qualifies to play in qualifiers, I think. And then the top 4 from each region advances, and then you have a top 16, and that gets broadcasted start of April. But right now, it's just grinding. People might be exactly the same at exactly the same skill or exactly as good as each other. But if some people have a full-time job and they can only play a couple hours a day, and other people can devote their full time onto this, they will be able to hit top 16 and the others won't because of playtime. So with the current system, it just rewards people that have time and are good at the game. Of course, you need to be good at the game. So I don't think, I saw someone say that, you don't need to be good at the game, you just need to play as much as possible. That is not true, because if you're not good, you will not be able to beat people that are actually good, right? So even if you play a lot, you won't get there. So skill is still a big thing. And I think it's like this current system is all right, but it's a full-time job to try and compete here, which is just not possible. I wish there were qualifiers. I wish we had a way to try and get into the scene without having to devote all of our free time into grinding the ladder, because not everyone has that privilege. I also saw a lot of players that, left BGs for a little bit, play some other games or have live happening, and that we're waiting for this announcement of Lobby Legends and then maybe gonna get back into it, because they were really good. I think I'm not gonna name players in specific, but people that hit super high ranks are super good, consistent, actually like win tournaments, and then they want to come back to the game or are still playing the game but are not grinding, and they see that they need to hit top 16 on the leaderboard, and then you see people play for like 12 hours a day straight every day, and you're like, yeah, this is impossible. Even if I come back, I don't have the time to get there. So even though he might or they might be able to compete at that same level and actually win and just do really well, they can't devote the time and get there. Now, there's the argument of course, people who play a lot should be invited. Like, they devote all their time and their work and their ambition into Battlegrounds, so they should be invited. Sure, but again, not everyone has that privilege. There might be people that would like to do that, but just can't, right? And I think they deserve equal chances. So qualifiers is the obvious solution. Qualifiers for BGs is a bit iffy, because I think you do need large sample sizes, since if you just roll, again, agendas, or you roll a Galliwix and a Barov 3 games in a row, and then you just blow out a lot of really great players that have to play bad heroes. The hero difference is too high right now. You do need a large sample size so people have on average the same luck, like the bad and good heroes switch around in the lobby. There could be systems in place where everyone gets to get every hero once, but I'm not going to go into all of that stuff. Qualifiers does bring its own complications, but I do think that would probably be a good solution as well, or maybe partly qualifier invites would be nice. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. I don't want to get you guys hope up as well. This is just because they just announced this, they worked really hard on this. I think they've been delaying this system for so long, like teasing Lobby Legends and saying, yeah, next time we'll give more info, and then it's another teaser, and then next time more info, and then finally we got the info. Seems like it's a lot of work going into this, and I don't think they'll easily change how things currently work. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they will, but I don't think it's, anytime soon we might expect different ways to try and qualify. Also, apparently it's played on the NA server, so EU people are at a massive disadvantage for Lobby Legends, which is unfortunate. Like, it's actually a huge disadvantage to play on a different server. If you've never played APM Pirates on a different server, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're from Europe or from Asia and you play on the NA server, you're screwed. If you play on NA, you have a massive advantage. Like, the animation time takes up so much. You can literally miss half of the actions that you can do, or even more or less. I don't know exactly if it's half, but you lose a lot of potential that you could otherwise have when playing APM boards. When you're playing Slysssa, when you're playing Barov and you need to spend all your gold in a turn, you have less time to make your decisions. So it actually feels like it is a big disadvantage to not be on the America server. But this is fixable with lens. Like, if you do in-person events, of course, that isn't always possible. I don't know how else you would fix this. This is like a logistic issue that I don't have experience on, but it's just something I wanted to point out, because it is a really big deal. You can't reconnect, so even if you start lagging, or even if you want to save time for the animations, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. That overall, Lobby Legends, a good thing. I'm happy it's here. There's also a massive prize pool. I think, yeah, it's better for it to be here than not be here, but there's definitely things that people want to see change. As always, that's normal. Now I'm just gonna try and put that in the spotlight, because that's the goal of this podcast. That is about it for Lobby Legends. There's not too much to say here, I think, for now, up until things start unfolding and we see how the scene goes and how the first tournament plays out, which is pretty hype, honestly. I also want to, last but not least, talk about where I'm at when it comes to BG grinding. Like, I really want to push for top 16 because the money is actually a lot. Like, if you win, it's amazing. Even if you don't win, even if you get last place, you get a big chunk of money, which is definitely worth it. But the thing is, I can't neglect my content. I've come to realize that what this grind does is you just need full time. Like I mentioned, the people playing and at the top of the leaderboard play the entire time. I don't know how they have the focus either. When I play for like multiple hours, the first couple hours go really well, then it goes down and I realize my focus is slipping. I don't even know how they do it. It might just be practice, they might just be really good. But currently, I don't think I'm good enough. I think I'm not at the level to actually be top 16. But I know I could be. If I put all my time in and I learn from other players, I get some coaching or whatever, or I analyze my games more and I play more, I probably can still improve, and I feel like I have a shot to make it. I've done it before, but it's just not worth it. I probably will never be able to make this month, maybe next month. So I am gonna try hard. I'm gonna try and improve and get better and do it at my own pace. I'm not ready to just put full-time effort into this if I'm not even guaranteed that it's gonna pay off. Well, this channel that I have, I love it too much. I love making videos for everyone too much. And I can't possibly stop. I love streaming too much. I actually started to not like streaming once I start grinding because I have less interaction with chat. I just have to full focus on the game. It's boring. I don't know. I want to grind. I want to do it at my own pace, but I don't want to start hating the thing that I actually enjoy and like doing. So this is also a bad solution. I feel like if you do something, you should go 100% for it. If I don't go 100% for the grind to top 16, I won't be able to make it because other people do put 100% in. So I'm okay with it. If I never make it, whatever. If I ever get close, maybe I go back to grinding. But for now, it wasn't worth my sanity and my time. I will still, try hard and play well, but it's not my main objective anymore. So I'm taking it easy, which honestly, I should have done from the start. I know I did a poll on both Twitter and YouTube, and I think majority of people wanted me to try and grind. And I did it. I also wanted to try and grind. But the more I play, the more I realize that I am currently not at a position where I can afford to, probably, because I would have to sacrifice too much from my channel and just in general, and my time and my sanity. And also another side effect is that your rank becomes your worth. This is a topic that I talked about, I think, mainly on Twitter, and I saw other people talk about, is that your worth as a person can't be numbers. Like, it can't be your viewer count, it can't be how many followers you have. But for a lot of people, it's their BG rank. And my BG rank meant everything, because it is literally the definition of how good I am at the game and whether or not I'm able to qualify for Lobby Legends and become an actual pro, right? So if you lose games, it feels really bad. If you have an off day, which I had a lot of recently, I had a lot of really bad days. You just feel like shit, and you feel like you're a bad player. So I don't want my rank to define me. I want my content and what I do and my passion for this game to define me. So that is just a change of priority. And I think if you grind and you make your sole purpose and goal hitting top 16, you might fall into that toxic mindset, and I don't want to be there. But of course, some people might be able to handle it better and maybe just clearly split their job or their work or whatever from their worth, which is something good. It is a lot of money though. That was the most tempting thing as well. Like, in case people don't know, I am a full-time content creator, but I don't make a full-time living yet. Like, I put every day into this YouTube and my Twitch, even though I am not making any full-time revenue, so I'm still trying to work on that, and that was why Lobby Legends was also tempting. Maybe I could be an esports player and become really good at Battlegrounds, but I'll just, change my priority, and if I ever get there, that's nice, but I think it's just more consistent if I do what I enjoy instead and grow this, and it makes sense. And we'll see where it goes, we'll see where it leads, but I just want to thank you all again for supporting this, because none of this would be possible without you. This end felt pretty boring. Like, I was talking about the meta and balance changes and Lobby Legends, and then I always feel weird talking about my own personal experience with the game and stuff like that, because I don't know if people are here to just get an update on Battlegrounds, or if you also like to hear some of the stuff that you watch me for, because this influences my videos and my streams, and most of the people watching, I think, are part of that community. So also let me know down below if you like updates like these, or if you prefer if I just keep it purely to the content of the game itself. yeah, that is it. That is it. This was a long episode. I expect this to take like 15 minutes, so I hope I didn't bore you enough. I hope this was also informational at all. Hopefully it didn't feel too much like a rant and like I'm just a grumpy old man trying to be upset about the game, but I hope some of this is actually like constructive. Thank you for listening or watching if you're on YouTube or any other platform. Don't forget again to leave your thoughts down below and join the discussion. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you. Take care.